I'm with Tom Brecha with the Thomas More Society based out of Chicago, and you have been helping out with the Defend Life efforts here. There's been some struggles as far as last year. People were just rounded up right off the side of the street. Is that legal, that what they did last year?
Well, Peter, it's anything but. It's about as blatantly illegal as any act of government could be. This is a fundamental civil right, the right to protest. Our nation was really built on that right, and you know, it's when that right was suppressed is how the United States of America came to be, when the British wouldn't let the colonists have their say in the public square. And so here we are, 200 and some years later, refighting essentially the same battle, Peter, in the state of Maryland, one of the original 13 colonies. And let me tell you, this was an absolutely outrageous event, and it needed to be addressed promptly and severely. Alliance Defense Fund filed a lawsuit last year aimed at the strip searching component of this for the 3 young women who were strip searched. We waited till the truth tour was about to begin this year, and our role is to go into court and get a court order protecting the participants in this year's march to make sure that nothing remotely like this happens again. But we wrote to the governmental agencies and asked them for assurances. If we got those, we'd hold our hand about an emergency injunction. Although a lawsuit is likely in any event, and American Catholic lawyers, I think, are going to pursue that for damages and a permanent injunction for last year. So this is called the heckler's veto. People who hear a message with which they disagree then complain to law enforcement, and law enforcement, on the basis of that complaint, shuts it down. There were pretexts here, but they were looking for pretexts, and one of the things we did right away was file a Freedom of Information Act request, and we got last September, in fact last August, we got the audio police recordings, the 9/11 calls from citizens complaining about the graphic photos, the police reactions, which were not only supportive of shutting down the protest, but biased and hostile. The duty officer said, let them be in jail 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 hours and rot. Let them rot in jail. She and others were grasping around looking for some excuse for shutting it down. There was no excuse. There was no law that justified. These people were in a public forum, a traditional public forum where free speech is always allowed, like a sidewalk or a street, a park. They were peaceful, they were nonviolent.
Yeah, how many were there?
There were 18, I think, 18, altogether,
I think that's right,
at that particular stop. And they were told to move on, and they did. They moved to another location, and then the police descended on them and put them in handcuffs, leg irons, hauled them away, detained them. The handcuffs were physically injurious to some of the participants. It was a very bad scene, and the strip search is absolutely outrageous and beyond the call. There was no need for that. The girls were kept apart from the general prison population. No question here of contraband or weapons being smuggled into other felons. So if we don't get assurances, we'll be in court in the next few days to ask the court to enjoin any further illegal action.
Well, for those of you who perhaps don't know which case we're talking about, 18 people were rounded up, strip searched, arrested, and thrown in jail, and all based on the fact that they were just standing on the side of the road with signs that people didn't like. And, you know, if that's what it takes, I mean, where are our protest rights? Where are our freedom of speech rights? And we really have to be up on this, don't we? We have to stand up against these things.
Well, absolutely. It's the very lifeblood of democracy is the right of people to speak out. And when that right is denied, democracy fails and may ultimately be lost. I mean, that's the essence of it, popular participation in government. And the fact that images are unpopular, unpalatable, offensive to some people, no reason to shut them down. Warning signs were put up to avoid that area if you didn't want your young people to see these images. But if we can't face those images, then we ought to get rid of the reason for them, which is abortion on demand in this country.
There we go. Thomas More Law Society, what's the website?
ThomasMoreSociety.org.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate your time.
Peter.